And welcome, race fans, to the Escors Le Mans Series, first broadcast for ETV Live, actually Road TV Live, a division of ETV Live, here at Sebring International Raceway. And I tell you, looking for an exciting race here today. We've got three classes of race cars tonight, guys. And I tell you, Sebring Raceway, Sebring, one of the oldest road racing tracks in North America, started life as a United States Army Air Force training base. 1941 to 1946, pilots learned to fly the B-17 right here at Sebring. And, of course, the lineage was commemorated by a special livery on Gunnar Racing's panos in the 2002 12 Hours of Sebring, resembling a World War II-era B-17. In the booth with me tonight, Sean Pivick, John Westling, as always, pushing the buttons on the counter for you. We've got Ron Day, Jim Willis, running sound engineer for us here at Sebring. But, Sean, you know, Sebring International Raceway, one of the oldest tracks in North America. What are we looking for here tonight?
Well, we've got a real bumpy track, which means turn 1 and turn 17 are real difficult to get right. With the three classes, we're looking for about 10 seconds speed, 8 to 10 seconds lap time difference between the prototypes, the Honda ARX 01C and the Corvette C6R. We're looking for about 3 to 4 seconds between the Corvettes and the Ford GTs, so we should have overtaking all night long.
All right, and you know, the other day you and I were at the track, and it was at nighttime. I got into a helicopter. You, of course, climbed into one of those high horsepower Hondas out there and took a ride around the track. I watched you in the helicopter, and let's show the audience take a lap around Sebring.
Headed down towards turn 1 at Sebring International Raceway. This corner is absolutely flat for the prototypes. Corvettes and the Ford GTs, not so much. They'll be off the throttle. Look for the prototypes to really carve through the GTs in turn 1. Headed down to turn 2. Good outbraking opportunity, but it leads into the first of our no overtaking zones. Don't shut carriage through here, it'll spin the car. Get a good exit onto Big Bend straightaway, a moderate sprint length straightaway, but it leads into the first gear hairpin. Look for outbraking maneuvers on driver's right headed into this hairpin. The prototype hard on the brakes at the third cone. Touch the carib with the right on apex. Touch the carib on the left at exit. And touch the carib on the right again for good measure. Headed into turn 10, Cunningham Corner. Another good outbraking opportunity. Be careful at exit though. You need to leave yourself space for turns 11 and 12, double left-hander coming up. Through 11 and 12, now we're headed towards turn 13, tower turn. A little bit camber to help you through, but don't turn in too early. Also slide off the left. Now we're headed towards Bishop, turn 14 at double left. Absolutely nothing for the prototypes, but it's tough for the GTs. It is the no passing zone. Into turns 15 and 16, culminating with the right-handed Le Mans. Absolutely critical to get a good exit onto the Ullman Straight. Prototypes can sneak by the GTs on the right-hand side at Le Mans, but it's a tough move to make stick. Now we're headed for the 17th and final corner on the course, Sunset Bend. It's as bumpy as you like. Take any line you like, so long as it's on the inside. That's a lap of Sebring International Raceway in 1:47.54.
All right, I'll tell you what, thanks, Sean, for that ride around here at Sebring International Raceway. And let's talk about the cars here for just a minute as the guys get prepared to race here tonight. We've got three classes of cars. And, you know, talking to you earlier during a pre-race, the difference between the Honda and the Corvette, 100 horsepower difference. Corvette certainly outpowers the Honda. But the Honda, a much faster car here at Sebring.
Yeah, it's a much lighter car, and it has quite a bit more downforce. So while the Corvette may have a straight line advantage, certainly if the Hondas are in high downforce trim, the Honda gets through the corners so much faster that it just destroys the Corvette.
And something I learned over the weekend here watching the qualifying for the Indianapolis 500, the Corvette actually has more horsepower than those open-wheel Indy cars at Indianapolis. So a little bit, kind of an unusual little factor about the Corvette, but looking for some outstanding racing here tonight as we get this ball rolling. Starting out in front tonight is Austin Benson. Vincent Sobol, he's also up in the front, and looking for some good racing here tonight. Now, the one thing, you know, we were talking also, since the Hondas are a little bit over, that they're actually the most powerful car on the track, the first 5 or 6 laps are going to be critical for basically all 3 classes as they try to get around each other.
Yeah, the first 5 or 6 laps are really going to be the only clean laps that these guys can count on. That is, laps where they don't have to overtake or be overtaken by the other classes. So if you want to get away from your competitors in class or put a fast lap down, those first 5 or 6 laps are going to be the time to do it. Certainly after those 5 or 6 laps are gone, we're going to be in multi-class traffic for pretty much the remainder of the event.
You bet. And looks like we're almost ready to hear engines firing up down there. I think they're starting to grid up here at Sebring International Raceway. Now this is 120 minutes of racing here tonight, guys. So as guys get the final practice laps in, making those final adjustments on the cars as we get ready to go racing here. Now, you know, there are no yellow flags here tonight. If something drastic should happen on the track, race officials will throw a full field caution. But other than that, Sean, unlike the oval track racing that we're so common, you know, we watch commonly, there are no yellow flags if something happens to a car out here on the track.
Well, there are yellow flags, but they aren't full course. They just affect that particular corner of the track. So that'll, of course, be no overtaking. You know, be cautious because there may be a problem up ahead of you.
You bet. And as these guys start gridding up here again now, Austin Benson out front with Vincent Sobel, Bjorn Spindle, Nick Thyssen, and they're starting to take position on the starting line here. So why don't we quickly run down through the lineup here. Of course, we mentioned Austin Benson out in front, Sobel, Spindle in third. Fourth is Thyssen. Fifth is going to be Andreas Osthoff. Kevin Hekkens will be starting sixth, and seventh will be Lars Brun Hansen. And then starting in eighth is Roderick Krunen. Dmitry Sivkov will be starting ninth. Alejandro Benabi starting 10th, Sean.
Starting 11th is Derek Schmidt. 12th, George Pilkington. 13th, Jeffrey Tang. 14th, first in the Corvette, is Anders Dahl on a 53.661. Angel Sandfield start 15th overall, second in GT1, about 6 tenths of a second behind Dahl. 16th overall, third in GT1 is Mikhail Helen. Niel Hekkens follows, followed by Fabian De Jong. 19th overall, Stefan Overgaard. 20th is Zlatko Grelic.
And starting in 21st is going to be Dean Allen. Marcel Bozeman will be starting in 22nd position. Starting 23rd will be Hendrik Mortensen. Joran Van Dunn will be starting in 24th. Nick Versigi will be starting in 25th, and we apologize for the mispronunciations here. But starting at 26th, Ruud Mulders starting 27th. Steve Clays in 28th position to be Roop Turkila, and in 29th, Cohen Arts, and starting 30th, Sean, will be Dennis Garrison.
31st overall, 5th in GT2 is William Yvart. 32nd overall, Stefan Coppens. 33rd is Kenny Flynn. 34th, Robert DeRue. 35, Pascal Chauvinot. 36th overall, Robert Lowry. 37th overall, Matthew Venn. 38th overall in Corvette is the 45 of Coppola. 39th overall in the Ford GT is David Treep. 40th overall, without setting a time, is Real Nottermans in the prototype. And shotgun on the grid, Chris Silstra.
All right, now pace car will lead them around for one lap here, get the motors warmed up here a little bit, take a tour of the track. Headlights are on here tonight at Sebring with the night race, and an awesome looking view from up here in the tower, Sean.
It's a fantastic sight, and you get goosebumps every time they come down for the start. The scream of 41 truly racing engines is something to behold.
And as the viewers are watching for the first time here tonight, you notice the different color headlights on some of these cars, and they do have a significance.
Yeah, the white lights are on the prototypes, and that's really an aid for the GT drivers to let them know when they see just two points of light coming up behind them. Is this thing going to eat me up in the corners, or do I have some time? Now, the GTs have an additional tall task tonight that you maybe wouldn't have in a normal race. For the first couple times the prototypes overlap the GTs, you sort of learn maybe not the names of the drivers that are coming through, but you learn what the car looks like. You learn whether they're going to really go for the overtake, or whether they're going to be patient, let you have your line. That's going to be a lot harder to do tonight with the night racing. So look for a little bit more uncertainty from the GTs maybe, especially through the first 3 or 4 points of overlapping.
And the setup tonight here, Sean, 120 minutes, it's not a matter, well, it is a matter of who wins the race, most certainly, but it's more a matter of who wins the race in all 3 series. So the cars aren't necessarily racing each other as much as they're racing each other in individual classes here at Sebring. Looking over in the chat room here tonight, we want to recognize some folks that are joining us for the broadcast. Andreas in the booth over there, D-Rex, Derek666, whoever that is, Diedrich. Good evening to you guys. Edwin Bauer, and looks like James Chester's along for the ride. Mama D in the house. I tell you, Mama D watching her first road racing broadcast. She takes care of the buffet up here in the booth for us. Look at her hauler down there in the garage area. It's got that Food Network TV thing on the side of it, I believe. But I tell you what, glad to have Mama D along. Martine, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, but Niel Tiemann from Digital Racing NL. We'll talk about digital racing here in a minute. One of our sponsors, Renee DeJong in the house, Rob, and then Ray Visser. Glad to have you guys along for the ride here at Sebring tonight. Of course, the race tonight, Sean, sponsored by Digital Racing. I took a look at their website, had to go through a little bit of a translation thing with it, but I'll tell you what, outstanding place. It's a Dutch sim racing community with various leagues being represented over there, and one of them are sponsors of the Escors Le Mans series.
Yeah, what a great group of guys. Looks like the pace car's coming. These guys are about to go green.
All right, pace car has pulled off, and we are green flag racing here at Sebring International Raceway. Austin Benson out in front here, guys. And another 120 minutes later, we'll determine who's going to pick up the checkered flag as we get up to speed here at Sebring.
Yeah, a couple of guys going a little bit wide in turn 1, but they've kept it all collected, kept it straight.
And these Honda cars up here in front, guys, I tell you, they get through these turns with ease. And going all the way back to the Corvettes back here, the Corvette behind the Hondas is going to be Anders Dahl. He's going to be in 14th position back here in that 03 machine as he works his way through the turns.
It's been a relatively clean start so far. They've done a good job of getting themselves separated and understanding this is a 120-minute race. There's no need to really push through the first couple laps. You're not going to win the race clearly in the first corner.
And then first car, let's go back to 25th position back here, the 48, I think that's the 48 machine of Nick Versteeg. You know what? I can't even pronounce the last name. Versteeg. Sorry about that, guys. Nick Versteeg. He's actually the first car in the Ford GTs back here in that black Ford, doing pretty well. So, it won't be long, probably at least maybe 3 or 4 laps, Sean, before the Hondas who have, of course, the best speed here at Sebring. It won't be about 4 or 5 laps before they catch up with the Ford GTs back here in the back.
User disconnected from your channel.
Right, you are, JD. And once that happens, we could potentially see some pretty wild overtaking maneuvers. We hope not to, but these prototype drivers do tend to get themselves in a hurry from time to time.
I'm looking back here in the back, guys. In 40th position back here, Real Notermans, and we've also got the 38th position, the 45 car of Cole Katlubla.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Like you had the outside pole sitter go off at Sunset Bend. The outside pole sitter, Vincent Sobel, has had a big incident in Sunset.
And Sobel coming down pit road as we speak, guys. So Sobel having a bad night here right from the get-go in that Honda, guys.
It's easy to lose the car there, and it looks like he was just maybe a touch offline, and it's just not gone well for him. I don't think we'll see that car back on track. It looked like a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, I'm actually watching it on the replay here. He goes for what we call an e-ticket ride here on ETV Live, as he takes a pretty hard lick into the outside wall here. So he may be done for the night, guys. Vincent Sobel is still sitting in the pits or working on the machine, trying to get it fixed, but don't know whether he'll be able to make it back out on the track or not. But you know, out here in front, Austin Benson looking pretty sharp here. Now, Austin Benson during practice had the second fastest time, you know, during the practice session today. So looking for Austin Benson to hook it up, put something together here tonight at Sebring.
Yeah, Benson will be happy to have seen the Vincent car go off. Give him just a little bit more space to the guys behind him. Of course, you never really want to see your competition go off, but it's sort of a, oh darn.
All right, Bjorn Spindell up here in second position. He's about 0.8 of a second off as we put 3 laps in the books here at Sebring. Remember, there's no number of laps. It's just 2 hours of racing here tonight, 120 minutes at Sebring here. So 3 laps in the books here already, as the Hondas are just, I tell you, they're pretty much lined up single file all the way back here. Really no pressure being put on by anybody quite yet, as we've got plenty of racing to go here at Sebring. In 11th position, George Pilkington back here in the 09 machine. He's significantly off the pace here, 11 seconds here, Sean. Not quite sure what's going on with the 09 machine, but also behind him, Jeffrey Tang in 12th position, 13 seconds off the pace. I can't think that these guys maybe just kind of taking it easy here the first few laps, playing it out here a little bit, or you know, what do you suppose is the strategy for these two drivers?
We could be taking it easy here for their first 2 laps, but let's not forget we have drivers of all talent levels welcoming the series, from near black stripes to the everyday gents that just want to drive and have fun. So we could just be seeing a genuine difference in pace. Well spotted by Juice Vandenheuvel, one of our viewers. Andrew Stahl and Edgel Sandfield, first and second in the GT1 class, out to a 7-second lead already over the remainder of the the Corvettes. Clearly, the class field, we hope that it looks like we should have a good race between these two for the entire 2 hours.
You know, we were talking to Niel Hekkens, organizer of the events here tonight at Sebring, and the race officials have set up a couple of no passing zones here, Sean, and there's a pretty good reason why.
That's right. The first passing zone is turns 3 through 5. It's really sort of a nasty left-right-left combination that you really need to be single file to get through safely. The second one isn't through the entirety of Bishop Bend, turn 14. As I mentioned in the onboard lap, it's absolutely nothing for the prototypes, but the GTs will really struggle through here, and they really need to have most of the track for it. Otherwise, we're liable to have prototypes and GTs pushing each other off the track, and that's something we don't want to have.
I was back here in 20th position with Marcel Bozeman, guys. He was putting the pressure on Steve Clays up in 22nd position in that number 3 car, but the Clay seems to have gotten the better of it and actually pulling away from Marcel Bozeman at the moment. So we'll see how long this lasts, but not a whole lot of battles going on the track here tonight. We put 5 laps in the books here. Remember, this is a 120-minute race here tonight, so it's not a matter of how many laps we do, it's a matter of how many laps you can get in, the time expires, and where you finish on the grid. So reminder, 3 classes of cars tonight. We've got the Hondas, the prototypes. We've also got the Corvette here tonight, and of course the Ford GT. So 3 classes of cars, 3 different levels of horsepower, and I tell you,
looks like we've got some good racing going on in the GT2 category between Stefan Koppitz and Cohen Gerhardt for third overall in for third in the class and 28th overall. As you're watching this, you'll notice 3 orange lights on the side of Stefan Koppitz's car. Those are the leader lights on these cars. Those lights are colored for the class: blue for the prototypes, green for the Corvettes, and orange for the Ford GTs. And the number of lights you see illuminated, it indicates their position in class. 1 light is first place in class, 2 lights second place in class, third place, 3 lights third place in class.
all right, and still watching some action back here in about 32nd position back here. The Corvettes, Kenny Coolin in the number 24 machine just got overtaken by Real Notermans back here in 33rd.
That's one of our Corvettes that started from the pit lane. Apparently he wasn't too comfortable starting on the grid, or wasn't able to set a time in qualifying.
There you go. Yeah, because I'm just looking at times here, and I thought, wait a minute, that's impossible. How can you be 33rd past the guy in front of you? So, you bet. So, starting from the pit, so he's significantly off the pace here a little bit, but looking to put the hustle on it and see if he can't make that some of that time up here. We've got Steve Clays leaves in 25th position here, guys. Steve Clays pulling up track, making a pit stop here at Sebring.
The leader overall has caught the tail of the Ford GT field. We're about to see overlapping start, and 3 wide on Holman Boulevard. And that's a lead change for the overall lead. Bjorn Spindle has gone through, courtesy of the Ford GT. It's not done yet, though.
No, it's
Austin
not.
Benson's coming back up the inside.
You bet. Big battle up here in the front, guys, with Bjorn Spindle and Austin Benson. Benson fighting back hard up here. He's not letting Spindle get too far away from him here. Austin Benson in that green Honda chasing down Bjorn Spindle up here in front, and they've got a looks like that's a Corvette up there in front of them. It's going to be David Tree pulling over, letting the faster cars have the turn here. Smart thing to do here at Sebring. Those Corvettes or the prototypes are much faster than the GTs and the Corvettes here tonight. His 38th position back here, David Trebe, he's letting all of the prototypes go past him here, and again, that's that's a smart thing to do here, Sean.
We've got a spinning Corvette.
One off the track.
We've got a spinning Corvette at Tower Turn. That's the 45 of Coppola. Looked like he just scared himself off the track when the prototypes are coming through.
We've got 37th position here as he spins off the track. No harm, no foul. Doesn't look like any damage done to that vehicle. You get back on the track. Wait till after traffic has passed him, and I'm sure he'll be coming through the pits to at least get a new set of tires. Oh, sliding off the course again. Back here in 37th position, the 45 car losing handling here through the turn. Slides off the track here one more time, guys, as he desperately tries to hang on to that machine.
That looks like he may be carrying a bit more dramas than we previously thought. Certainly possible to overdrive a car there if he just spun, but maybe not so likely.
And I'm sure, road race versus oval track, level of confidence, a level of mental preparation that you have to do here. I mean, this isn't just about turning left like we so commonly see on an NASCAR circuit, but here it's right, left, constant. And of course, when you get into a multi-class race here, Sean, you actually have cars of different horsepowers on the track as well. As we got another car off the track.
That's two cars. That cross-class incident.
That's going to be the 11 car of Jeffrey Tang here in 11th position, 71 car. I'm sorry, off the track here, spun out. He's trying to get back onto the track here through the dirt. Makes it back on the track. So Jeffrey Tang, he also having a difficult time here. 8 laps in the books here at Sebring. Oh, and he goes off the track into the barrels. Jeffrey Tangy, hard hit into the barrels, guys, as he calls for a tow truck and gets the quick tow back to pit road.
That car, I believe, is done.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It looked like it might have tore up the front end on that prototype pretty bad. Of course, lightweight cars, plastic front end, hit the barrels pretty hard here at Sebring. So I don't imagine he'll be back out on track. We'll keep an eye on things down there on pit road. And up here in the front, in the first position, Warren Spindle fighting some traffic here with the Corvettes. It looks like it's going to be Stephen Copeland's up here. He's actually in 27th position in that 81 machine as Spindle gets past him here. And Nick Thyssen back here in second position, chasing down the leader here, not far off here as he closes the distance. Andreas Osthoff back here in fourth position, guys. He's got some traffic out in front of him as well, working around a couple of Corvettes here as he makes the pass on one and looking to get around to Stephen Copeland's up here in 27th position as Osthoff makes it safely past him here, guys.
Yeah, that looked like the leaders of the prototype field catching the GTs in earnest, and the chaos that results.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, earlier during pre-race. It's only going to be a matter of time before the faster cars start overtaking the slower cars, and that's going to present some issues out here on the track as they work themselves through the turns. Now, again, we've got a couple of no passing zones here for safety purposes, and every driver is aware of that. Andreas Osterhoff up here in fourth position, still passing a bunch of lap-down cars here, guys. So.
I tell you, this is kind of an exciting race when the Hondas start catching up with slower traffic here. And again, it's not a matter of you know, how many positions you get on the different class cars. It's where you are in your own class. And right now, Andreas Ostrov is running in fourth, about 6.1 seconds behind the leader, Bjorn Spindle, up there pretty much on his own. And checking the chat room over here again, Sean, we've got a couple of people who have joined us. Looks like Bjorn Ursum has joined us. James Chester is along for the ride here tonight at Sebring. And Edwin Brower, I believe, joining us here tonight. And glad to have you guys along here. Rob also in the house. So good to see you guys joining us here for the race here tonight at Sebring. Of course, everybody hears their name on the air and wonders how do they know that? ETV Live is so much a fan interactive broadcast, and I tell you, we do like to have some fun with the people in the chat room over there, and certainly glad everybody's joining us here for the first, I guess, the inaugural race on the Road TV Live, the ETV Live Autosports Network here tonight.
Looks like the battle for fourth overall has sped up. Broderick Rudin just within a second of Sostov.
Yeah, just kind of cruising through the cars here, looking for some battles. Back here in second position, Nick Thyssen. He's battling Brud Mollers up here. Brud is in a Corvette, 21st position here, as Thyssen finally gets past him here. But you know, these to the prototypes, I guess these slower cars out here are something of an obstacle.
It is, but as a prototype driver, you have to deal with them with respect too. Certainly they are, they can be in the way, but if you give them some room early in the race, they'll give it to you back later in the race, and you'll actually gain some time that way. But certainly, yes, it can be difficult to get around them, as Ruud Mollers has a bit of a moment.
41 cars started the race here tonight.
There's Jeroen van Dun going wide at the tower turn in position 22. Once again, looked like just scared himself off in front of a prototype and ran off to driver's left.
You bet. And 41 cars started the race here tonight, and starting with Bjorn van Dun in 22nd position, that 98 car. He's actually the first car one lap down to the entire field here. Of course, that's going to happen with the different classes here. Of course, all the prototypes are pretty much on the lead lap, as well with the looks like about half, a little more than half of the Corvettes are still on that. But beginning with now Marcel Bozeman, who goes lap down, he's in 20th position in a Corvette, and
so just to give a quick rundown, as we're about halfway through our first stint, Bjorn Spindle in prototypes leads overall from Nick Thiessen, 2 seconds back. Austin Benson third overall, 4 seconds back from the leader. In GT1, Anders Dahl leads from Egil Sandveld, about a second ahead. Niel Hekkens in third, a further 8 seconds back. Finally, in GT2, the 4 GTs, Nick Versteeg leads from Dennis Jerson and Koen Gerards.
all right, you know, I'm scanning through the cars here on my monitor, and what looks like some pretty good battles shaping up, especially up here about the 20th position or so. Marcel Bozeman, looks like he's got 3 prototypes. It's going to be Roderick Kroenen.
Sorry to interrupt, we have yet another rotating Corvette. Zlato Bralic in the 23 and P15. Again at tower turn. We had predicted Tower Turn to be Calamity Corner, but it looks like it's certainly shaping up that way, as I think I saw someone else just go off. I did indeed. Alejandro Bernabe in P10, car 79, has also gone off at Tower Turn.
Alright, a couple of cars going for what we would normally call an e-ticket ride here on Road TV or ETV Live, but was back up here in 20th position. We had quite a battle going on with Marcel Bozeman, Rudd Mulders, a couple of them up here. But it's gotten pretty much all sorted out. It was basically prototypes versus Corvettes as everybody gets past each other here. But last Brun Hansen up here in 7th position, he's battling with Stefan Overgaard in 18th position, Overgaard in a Corvette. Of course, the prototype of Hansen safely makes it past the slower Corvette.
And we've just had a pass for P4 overall, but Roderick's outbroken himself and spun at the hairpin. Oh, it collected Kevin Veckemans. It's P5 and P6 overall, and he'll collect Stephen Overgaard as well. That's not gone well.
Alright, let's see if I can roll it back on the replay here and take a second look on my monitor.
That was Robert Croonan trying to overtake Eisner's Hosthoff for P4 in the prototypes. Just outbraked himself going into the hairpin, got out onto the dirt and spun, and collected both Kevin Veckemans and... Who else did you put in that?
Difficult, you know, it's a night race, and all you've got are the headlights out in front of the car, and, you know, he's coming off the turn. That's going to be Veckemans comes off the turn, can't see until he gets right on top up there. And, of course, there's a pair of headlights blazing him right in the face here. So that's, you know, blindness coming off the headlights. Can't tell where that car is. And just kind of gently gives him a nudge backwards here a little bit. Not a whole lot of damage done to the 25 machine back here. But I tell you, with the fiberglass bodies on these cars here, Sean, I mean, you know, little minor damage could result in major damage, actually.
Yeah, the carbon fiber on these cars doesn't really take well to being impacted. It either holds its shape or it gets itself pretty bent up really quickly. Looks like Veckemans has retired as a... Yep, Veckemans is out of the race after the contact. As is, of course, Robert Croonan.
And, you know, another one, I think, up on the hauler and headed for the barn here tonight is Roop Turkila. I believe Vincent Sobel is also off the track and in the hauler. Jeffrey Tanghe as well, guys.
Yeah, Tang we saw impact the barriers at turn 2. Sobel was our first top spinner in Sunset Bend, and Turkla retired before the race even began with technical issues.
And up here in 3rd position, guys, Austin Benson, who started on the pole here tonight, falling back significantly, about 4.9, almost, let's call it 5 seconds back of Bourne Spindle. Now, Austin Benson and Bourne Spindle both in the prototypes up here, but Austin Benson turning the second fastest lap during the practice session here tonight, looking very strong, but still running up here in the top 5, John.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised how much the lead Bourne Spindle has pulled out at this point. I was expecting the first 3 cars and prototypes to be relatively more even matched than this. But right now, Spindle with about a 4.5 second lead, and that's a lead he will very much cherish.
And, you know, looking at the times, you know, starting out with the prototypes up here, looking at the time, there's not a whole lot of battles going on. These guys are anywhere from, well, let's say 5 seconds to, you know, a matter of 6, 7, 8 seconds back of one another. So not a whole lot of pressure being put on each other in the prototypes.
We had an incident with Alejandro Bernabe at the tower turn, unsighted by us initially on lap 14. Looks like he missed his brake marker and just completely rear-ended a hapless Corvette that was in the way.
And up here in third position, it's going to be Chris Zylstra up here. He just lets Austin Benson go. Benson, this could be another reason why Benson's significantly off the pace from lead up here, about 7.5 seconds back, trying to get around the 21 machine here. Was being held up there just a little bit. Of course, they got to work themselves through the turns. And remember, we do have 2 no passing zones here on the track here at Sebring. So. You got to look for the safest way to pass these slower cars, as Austin had safely made it past Zylstra for position here, trying to work himself back up to the front, and at least puts pressure on Bjorn Spindle, who has the lead up here and who has had it here for about 6-7 laps. John.
Yeah. Something I do want to bring to your attention, as it is somewhat important. As we've been hemorrhaging, really, prototypes. We now have 2 Corvettes in the top 10 overall. Anders Dahl and Edgel Sandfield, 9th and 10th overall.
Corvettes keeping up with the prototypes here, but looking at the times, it probably it's just a matter of time because Bjorn Spindle gets to them and puts them a lap down as well. But remember, it's not about the prototype versus Corvette. It's more prototype versus prototype here. Each class is racing its own within its own class here. So 15 laps in the books. Why don't we go ahead and step away? We're going to take a commercial break. Check out the buffet booth behind us here. I'm getting a little bit hungry here, Sean, but I'll tell you what, you're watching live, ETV Live, Road TV Live here at Sebring International Raceway, so don't wander off. We'll be right back. Hey, JD here with ETV Live, and let me tell you something. If it's too big for the pickup truck and you need to move it, there's only one trucking company you need to call, and don't bother with the Yellow Pages, cowboy. I'll give you that number in a minute. Manufactured goods, automotive, technical equipment, furniture, even if you need a reefer, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated is the only choice, cowboy. With locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Rancho Cucamonga, California. If you need to move it, store it, and keep it cold, you need to call Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated. Long haul, short haul, or just across town, Gary Mercer has the best trained and qualified drivers to get your load from point A to point B with professionalism and on time. So remember, Hoss, if it don't fit in a pickup truck, you're going to need a real truck, cowboy. Sponsors of ETV Live's Friday Night Showdown, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated, 1-800-668-2980. Right. We are back live here at Sebring International Raceway, and this is the Escors Le Mans Series, sponsored by Digital Racing. And I'll tell you something, you know, if you've got, I used, I believe it was Chrome, Google Chrome, to go over there and take a look at their website. Of course, I had to get, Chrome has a pretty nice little translation deal. And taking a look around the website over there, check it out, Cowboy. I'll tell you what, Digital Racing, if you're into road racing, in a big way, check out digitalracing.nl. It's a big, huge sim racing community. I believe it's in Dutch over there, and a lot of leagues represented. So, and I believe Niel, I'm looking for his name here. He might, let's see, Niel's team, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but Niel's team and over there in the chat room. If you're unfamiliar with the website, hey, get up with Neil Timmons in the chat room over there, and I'm sure he'll be glad to show you around over there at Digital Racing, over there, digitalracing.nl. In the meantime, back out here at Sebring, in 10th position here, Anders Dahl in a Corvette, just getting around Chavot here. In that number 15 machine. So a lot of guys racing. It looks like a lot of racing going on, or is actually cars passing one another, cars getting up out of the way. The prototypes, of course, the more powerful machines out here at Sebring here tonight. So when they're coming along, they're identified by the clear white headlights coming at you in the rear view mirror. And of course, when you see one of them coming, you best scoot up out of the way and let him go on by, because he's going to be a whole lot faster than you are. But over here in the chat room, coming back from the break over here and asking these guys how I'm doing, because this is my first road racer tonight, and I'm having a blast. I love this stuff. And I was reminded that the cars with two headlights are Corvettes, and the ones with the single, or the cars with two tail lights are the Corvettes, the cars with the single tail lights are the GTs. So thanks, guys, for reminding me. They all look the same from my monitor here.
While we were away, there's a phrase you've never heard before. While we were away, Lasse Bjørn Hansen took his first scheduled stop in the 84 prototype. So we should start to expect to see most of our prototypes, and I suspect most of our Corvettes and GTs onto pit road sometime in the next 5 minutes.
And you know, how important are tires here? You know, what are we looking for as far as how many laps? And this is something of a concern over the oval racing side. You know, we're always talking about, you know, tire temperatures, how long the tires are going to last. Can you get a fuel run off the tires? You know, here at Sebring, Sean, what are we looking for here exactly?
On the prototypes, you can actually get 2 fuel runs out of the tires. The tires don't degrade nearly as much as they do on the oval side. That said, there's no reason not to change them at the pit stops. The fuel will take much longer than the tires. On the Corvettes and the 4 GTs, you're going to get about one fuel run to the tires. And you will start to see them fall off a little bit towards the end of the run, but not nearly as drastically as you see maybe a NASCAR tire fall off. Yeah, so we should, with the prototypes at least, we should start to see the fastest laps of their runs coming now. That is, of course, assuming they don't hit traffic.
Right, so like any other kind of racing, tires always making a difference no matter what. But in position 9 here, the 86 machine of Sandfield, working past Robert de Ruige. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right or not, but Ruige in a GT here, as he also gets passed by a prototype. That's going to be Dmitry Sivkov in that number 75 machine. And as for position, that's going to be 5th position here with 20 laps in the books here at Sebring. 41 minutes has elapsed here at the race. Remember, this is 120 minutes or 2 hours here at Sebring. So it's a matter of how many laps you can get in that time, but I think it's more of a matter of where you are when the time expires here tonight at Sebring. So right now, up in front, it's been Bjorn Spindel's night. Of course, he was battling with Austin Henson there for quite some time. Nick Thiessen up there in second place, but Austin Benson now falling 14.8 seconds back from the lead. Nick Thiessen actually gaining a little bit of time on Spindell. Of course, this may be due to tires. I don't know. You know, do you take it a little bit easier, knowing that your tires are wearing out?
Well, the prototypes should be pushing because their tires are still good. I suspect that Bjorn Spindell has gotten through traffic much better than either Thiessen or Benson, and that Spindell probably has a little bit more pace for the race. But we have sort of entered that sort of strange period in endurance races where the field has started to spread out, and we start just turning laps and trying to get to the last 15, 20, 30 minutes to really decide what's going to happen.
All right, and as the prototypes, most of the prototypes still on the lead lap. I'm looking at Hansen in the 84 machine. He's in 8th position, guys. He's actually the last car on the lead lap here in the prototypes. In front of him is going to be George Pilkington in that 09 machine. He's in 7th position. So those two guys, they're on the lead lap. They're actually the last two cars on the lead lap. And then behind them, one lap down, and it's interesting to look at the breakdown here. The Corvettes, Egil Sansfield is in 9th position.
I bet there's a Corvette go off in front of him. Dennis Gerson at the tower turn again. And position 23.
All right, some are having a little bit more difficult time than others here, for sure. But breaking it down here, position 9 through 20 here, guys. Egil Sandfield running in 9th position. He's the first Corvette, and he's also the first car one lap down on the track. Not that that really matters, because most of his competition in the Corvettes are still with him on that same lap. So with the first car 2 laps down on the Corvettes, Bjorn Van Dunn in 19th position in that 98 machine, followed by Bralick. Now Bralick, remember, he had some issues earlier in the race, and working to get back in shape here at Sebring.
Well spotted once again by Rupi Turkula. Dennis Garrison, car in position number 3, car 02. Looked like he just lost the rear end under braking for, you guessed it, tower turn. Got into the tires hard. I'm starting to wonder if Turkula doesn't have an inside source here.
I'm watching a battle here back in 18th position here, guys. It's Real Noterman in a Corvette. He was actually battling with Rudd Mulders up here in 17th position at 40. Oh, this Mulders gets out of shape off the track, gets it back, and I'll tell you, smart move with Rudd Mulders here. I'm going to roll it back on my monitor and take a second look. Just caught that out of the corner of my eye. As he's not quite sure what turn this is, but he's going through on lap 20 here, and just looks like he just misses his mark a little bit, but able to save that car, get back on the track, and I'll tell you, that's got to be one of the good hands was here at Sebring tonight for sure.
JD, you were asking earlier about Austin Benson's lack of pace, really, after we saw him lead pretty clearly the first few laps. Looks like he's picked up some damage on the left front of that car. These cars are very sensitive to aero damage, so that would account for his lack of pace through the course of the race.
And I don't know where he would have picked that damage up. I'm going to. I've got a little bit of data here that I can recall or call upon to see if I can find where that might have happened, but something happening to Austin Benson's car here tonight, guys, which might be what's slowing him down here.
it looks like he just clouded a curb in turn 15 and 16. So I'm sort of wondering if it's not phantom damage from iRacing.
Yeah, what I'm showing on my data, it looks like it might have happened on, well actually that's not it, but yeah, it might have happened on, well no, that's not correct either, because that just happened on lap 22. Showed him off track, but going over those, the rumble strips. Now, you know, in oval racing we call them rumble strips, what are they called in road racing?
Rumble strips, curbs, berms. There's not really a single unified term for them.
That's probably a good thing in my case. I know we, you know, we've gotten involved in dirt racing here on ETV Live as well, and learning some new track, you know, verbiage over there as well. You know, as far as cushion and berm. Of course, berm being on the inside, cushion being on the outside. So, of course, road racing being something new to the old cowboy here as well. But I tell you, I'm having a blast up here. You know, watching Austin Benton here, trying to make up some time here and get back up to the front. Of course, being in third, he is the third car in the prototype, so, you know, still a good top 5 run here. It's just he's 12.5 seconds in back of Bjorn Spindle, who has the lead up here and who has had it for most of the race. 22 laps in the books here at Sebring, guys, and a lot more racing coming our way. 49 minutes has a lap, so just short of an hour here with, like I said, a lot of racing still to come yet. Yeah, and you know, we got to take that 49 minutes. Actually, it's 49 minutes total. What you're seeing up there, and of course on my clock that also includes the pace lap, which was say about 2 minutes or so. But give or take a couple of minutes here, Bjorn Spindle up in front working his way around lap cars of other classes here. I'm going to check back over here in the chat room, and a couple of newcomers, Ruben Norhoek joining us here tonight, Roy Visser, see if I recognize any other names that join us, Peter Kolk, Peter, not quite sure if that's your last name, Kolk, but Peter, welcome to the race tonight here, Marco joining us, and Joos van den Heuvel, I don't know if I said that right or not, but welcome to the club here tonight, Road TV Live here, Sebring International Raceway. Vanderkolk, got it, gotcha. Watching the chat room over here, and the guys that are quick to correct me, and I appreciate all the help, guys, I really do. And now your name, Jope? Is that your first name, Jope? Waiting for a response from Jope. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation or not, but
JD, you're probably going to have a hit at your door tomorrow morning, messing up all these guys' names, so good thing I don't live nowhere near you, son.
Yeah.
That, of course, is producer John.
Well, don't give out my name. I don't want no part of that.
I'm just giving the first. I'm just giving the first. But John responsible for all the pictures coming to you tonight. Doing a fine job at that.
All right, and it's always fun to mix it up with the guys over here in the chat room and giving me a hard time about pronunciation. Of course, now they're giving each other a hard time, but glad to see everybody having a good time here tonight. Back out on here at the track, you guys, in 32nd position, 21 car of Chris Zis. You know, I'm going to call him Chris, the 21 car of Chris. He's in a GT here. He's one of those guys with the single taillights in the back. He's battling with David Trebe up here in front in that 38 machine, 31st position here. And looks like he was putting the pressure on here for a while, but backed off here a little bit. Now looking again, looked on the inside of that turn, can't make it around. And I tell you what, David Tree, but getting good runs off the turns here. And the question of who's pitting, actually looks like we've got a couple of people in the pits. We've got Rudd Mulders currently in the pits. And David Trebe in 32nd position in the pits, and it's going to be fuel and tires for that machine. So it looks like the Ford GTs predominantly coming in, making their pit stops.
Mikhail Helen in position 11 also in as well from the Corvette.
And your
He pits
leader
from third
tonight,
less.
and leader Bjorn Spindell makes his way down pit road into his pit box. Going to be 4 tires and fuel for that machine.
That puts the top 2 into the pit lane then. Both Dick Dyson and Bjorn Spindell. Bjorn had about a 10-second lead entering the pits. We'll see how that changes when they pit out.
And pit times here, you know, at Sebring, look like they're considerably longer than what we find in road racing too. That was a 29-second, if I'm reading this correctly. That looked like a 29-second pit stop for Bjorn Spindell.
Yeah, we don't get the gas in the car quite as quickly as the NASCAR side does. But that's Derek Schmidt from position 5, and of course 5th in class in the prototype into the pit lane as well. Nigel Sandfield, current leader in the Corvette's position 9, into the pit lane.
And I'm looking down the pit board here. Derek Schmidt, 4 tires and a fuel for his machine. Watching his pit time, I've actually got a timer that I can watch here and see if he's going to be able to beat some of the leaders as far as time spent inside the pits. 28.2 seconds, so about 9/10 of a second faster than Bjorn Spindell. So that's got to make up some time on the track out there. But so far, looks like Austin Benson might have had the fastest pit time as far as prototypes so far, guys. 26.1 seconds for that 07 machine of Austin Benson.
Pits really are the best way to make up time. It really is free time if you can get in and get out well. Of course, not getting your fuel right, not staying in the pit as long is a great way to make up time as well.
And it looks like Austin Benson having some difficulty here, guy. Benson up here in 3rd position in that 07 machine. Getting kind of a lazy start, pulled off the track for some reason. Don't know if we have issues with his car or not. Austin Benson starting on the pole here tonight. Looks like he's got it going and doing pretty well now, but for some reason pulled clear off the track. It wasn't letting anybody down. Wondering if he just had some kind of issue going on inside the cockpit of that prototype.
Bjorn Spindell, our prototype leader, has come up roses out of this pit stop sequence. He's gained 5 seconds on Nick Dyson and about another 10 seconds on Austin Benson through that pit stop cycle.
Dyson about 14.4 seconds, let's call it 15 seconds behind Spindell. So Dyson also had a little bit longer pit stop, Sean, 33 seconds. So wondering if one of the pit crew had some kind of an issue, maybe with the tire, or just couldn't get the fuel in quick enough. But 33-second pit stop for Nick Dyson. 28 laps in the books here at Sebring, and looks like pretty much what we would call green flag pit stops have been completed for just about everybody here. So why don't we go ahead and step away? We're going to take another commercial break. I want to refill my plate. Check out the buffet table back there. Of course, Mama D always bringing her hauler to all the tracks we go to. I tell you, she's got one of them jet-powered haulers. And you got to see the side of that thing. I mean, massage chairs for us up here in the booth, and you know, a full bar, the whole 9 yards, cowboy. Always glad to have Mama D along for the ride. But we're going to go ahead and step away, take a commercial break. You're watching live Road TV Live, Sebring International Raceway. This is the ELMS Escors Le Mans Series. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 120 Minutes of Sebring presented by ELMS and DigitalRacing.nl. We do have one good tight battle on the track between William Gavart in the 77 Ford GT and Robert Lowry in the 64 Ford GT, just coming out of Sunset Bend. This is the closest battle we have on the track at the moment. Looks like they have been about level terms in terms of lap times. We'll see how this turns out.
Watching Robert Lowry do battle with William Gavart up here in the 24th position here. This is going to be 25th and 24th position, so pretty much pretty good battle going on here for a couple of laps here. 27 laps in the books here at Sebring International Raceway. You got nighttime race here, and again, you can identify the cars by their headlights. Of course, that's probably more for the driver than it is for the viewer. Does the viewer some good as well, but the yellow-colored lights here are indicative of the Ford GTs out on the track, and of course, the clear lights, the white lights, more indicative of the prototypes up here. And I believe the Corvettes also have the yellow light. So the prototypes easily identifiable by their body shape. Of course,
well, we've just had a spin. That's William Gavart, who was the following car in that battle. It's just spun at Tower Turn.
Yeah, that's going to be William Gavart up here going for an e-ticket ride off the track. Doesn't look like a whole lot of damage. Certainly going to need a new set of tires for sure. But back on the track here again as he lets the traffic go past. So William Gavart in big trouble.
Robert Lowry did a great job to avoid him there, as Gavart's car did sort of a hospital hop and cut back across the track.
And guys, one thing I've noticed with this road racing versus the oval stuff that ETV Live usually does is these drivers seem to show a lot more respect for their co-drivers. I mean, we've watching these two battle it for a good 3-4 laps here. Neither one of them got into each other. They respect each other's line, and wow, there's some good racing there.
You bet. I'll tell you what, there's some more good racing happening right up here in position number 33. It's going to be the 99 machine of Fabian De Jong up here. He's chasing down Henrik Mortensen up here in a Corvette. A couple of Corvettes doing battle, and then right in front of them is going to be Robert De Rouge in 25th position. He's in Ford GTs. He pulls over and lets the faster Corvette go by, going into the turn too wide here. And I'll tell you, unlike what we see in oval racing here, guys, I'll tell you, the track is a whole lot narrower, and when you're going 2x2 into the turns, I'll tell you what, it takes a pretty high level of concentration to get through there without banging into one another. But up here in 33rd position, Fabian De Jong, he's making quick work of a couple guys. Now he's got Henrik Mortensen up here as well, trying to get past him. Of course, Fabian De Jong, he's in 33rd position, and Mortensen is in 14th position. So you can see, one car is quite a few more laps down than the other. Of course, Henrik Mortensen certainly ahead of...
Yeah, Fabian De Jong does look to have the pace certainly better than the cars around him, but unfortunately it looks like he was delayed for about 5 minutes on lap 7.
And then let's move back up in front here again, back up to our pole sitter tonight here at the start of the race. Austin Benson at 07 machine running a third. Significantly off the pace. Has not had the night he was looking for sure. Starting on the pole here tonight as he works past a couple of lap down cars from another class. I believe that was going to be a Corvette of Niel Hekkens, our organizer tonight. But Austin Benson working over a GT, the GT of Nick Versteeg. I have troubles with this guy's name,
Versteeg.
I swear. Versteeg. My apologies, in 21st position. But certainly Austin Benson with one of the fastest times during practice. Doing a pretty decent job staying up in the top 5, 21 seconds behind the lead. But one of the drivers we haven't spent a whole lot of time, let's talk about in 11th position back here in that 41 machine, Niel Hekkens. Niel pretty much organizing this entire event here at Sebring tonight, and a big thank you goes out to him for putting us all together here tonight, organizing it with digitalracing.nl. The sim racing community, a Dutch sim racing community, and if you haven't been over there yet, get a look at it, digitalracing.nl. And then Derek Spear designs high performance racing parts for virtual sim racing. And I'll tell you, button boxes, shifter controls, the whole 9 yards. You want to check that out, Derek Spear Designs.
There's a race within the race we haven't discussed yet, and that's the Clean X Challenge. It doesn't, as Rube Mueller's goes wide in P19 at the hairpin, look to be avoiding a Ford GT that he closed on rather quicker than I expected. So that's actually going to count against Rube Mueller's in the Clean X Challenge. It doesn't have a bearing on the outcome of the race, but it does have a bearing on the outcome of the championship. Drivers are given bonus points for completing clean races without an incident. And after accumulating too many incidents, they actually will have points taken away from them. So while it won't affect the race itself, it will affect who we crown as champion of each of these 3 classes at the end of the season.
All right, and the Clean X race, and I'll tell you, a lot of these guys looks like there's going to be a lot of them vying for those extra bonus points here, and it's been a pretty clean race thus far, guys. And,
Jared Van Dunn was just spun off of Le Mans in P18. Looks like he might have gotten into the inside fence, but he has continued. That car was 10th in class.
Yeah, I'm rolling it back here on my monitor, and he just he goes in way too hard, way too deep, goes for that E-ticket ride through the grass, tries to get it straightened out. Oncoming traffic, that's hard to deal with here. You just see headlights coming at you at about 120 miles an hour. And looks like he might, I don't think he made contact with the wall here, Sean, but it darts across the track, gets it back in shape, back up on the speedway here. So Jorn Van Dunn certainly in big trouble here at Sebring.
Yeah, it looks like he has gotten away with that one. So that's 1 hour down.
You know,
after first 20 or 30 minutes that looked more like a sprint race, as we have another rotating Corvette. This time in P17.
Jorn Dunn gets nailed. I got to roll this one back. Just caught that out of the corner of my eye. There's a car off the track up here in the turn, and traffic is just piling up here, guys.
Brute Boulders in P19 missed his brake zone and really took out Marcel Balzman in P17.
Yeah, and that's going to be that's probably going to be one of the worst ones we've seen here tonight. And I'm still looking at it here. Rudd Boulders, he's looks like he might be the last guy in line, but he gets a piece of Jorn Van Dunn, who's off the throttle, sees the car ahead of him off the track here. That's going to be Marcel Bozeman in that 00 car in 17th position, just sitting there. And of course, I mean, you got to jump off the throttle, get on the brakes, and coming around the turn, you know, again, it's a night track, and the only thing you can see is what's in front of your headlights. So if you're coming around a turn, you can't see the angle over there in the darkness, what might be off the track over there, Sean. So I tell you, difficult times here for sure during a night race. But that's probably the worst incident we've seen so far.
It's certainly up among them. You mentioned a couple times just seeing nothing but headlights pointing at you as you approach a spinning car. That is a driver's worst nightmare. As we have Matthew Venn in 30th position, has made a proper mess of getting into the pit lane and actually has the pit lane completely blocked. But he takes the tow, thankfully. The pit lane was completely blocked there for a good 10 or 12 seconds.
And I'm still working on Marcel Bozeman here, guys. He, you know, after that melee back there in the turn, he gets his car straightened back out again, gets going, immediately spins it out again in the next turn. So Marcel Bozeman in that 00 car absolutely having a bad night here on lap 31. So. But that, you know, like I said, that's, and again, even at the entrance of pit lane, spins it out again. Marcel Bozeman desperately looking for some tires here in that 00 machine. Misses his pit box, and he's pulled up. He's awfully close to the wall here, Sean. Don't know whether he's going to, don't know whether they're going to get that car up and be able to get right side tires on it.
It'll be an extended stop for sure, but with the damage on the car, I don't think that'll be their primary concern. But just as we were about to say, we'd had a clean past 30 or 45 minutes. Carnage has broken free.
Looking back through the cars here, don't see any real battles going on, but we do have a number of pit stops, number of vehicles making pit stops. Of course, damaged vehicles from that little melee here a while back. Steve Clay's in the 24th position in that number 3 machine, 4 tires and fuel, working his way down pit road. He'll re-enter the track.
The rear end of that car has seen some action, I believe earlier in the race when he spun into the tire barrier. Yeah, Steve Clay's definitely had an interesting race. Certainly not the race he would have hoped for.
All right, and some more pit stops underway here at Sebring. And 32 laps in the books here tonight, and a little over an hour, so just under an hour worth of racing left. And again, a reminder, you know, although Bjorn Spindell is out in front with Nick Thyssen up here in the prototypes, you know, it's not about who wins the race overall, it's more about who's going to win the race in each one of the classes. Right now, in 9th position, number 86 machine of Egil Sandfield. He's 2 laps down to the entire field. However, he is the lead car in his class. Sandfield, in 9th position, is in a Corvette. So Egil Sandfield holds down a pretty good position here. About, well, you know, according to the time, maybe about halfway through the race at this point. As Sandfield gets past Kuglin down here. Kuglin reming in the Ford GT, a little bit slower car. Kuglin in 24th position, and going by another one, William Yvart. Remember Yvart having his difficulties in a turn here a couple of laps ago.
Nick Versteeg's 17th overall as your GT2 leader, and has had a remarkably clean race, and his lap times have been extraordinarily consistent. Now, as I say that, he hasn't. Looks like he was delayed by traffic, but you know, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, very low 2 minutes 1, 2 minutes 1, 2 minutes, extraordinarily consistent. And he enjoys about a 15-second lead over Cohen Gerardt's 19th overall, second in GT2.
All right, and once again checking over in the chat room, Bram Koken joining us here tonight. Glad to have you along for the ride. We've got kind of a full house over here, guys. And I'll tell you, I hope Mama D provided enough. I don't even know what's on the menu. A lot of barbecue stuff left over back here on the buffet table. I don't know if she's got down there in the hauler for all the visitors, but Mama D always along with her hauler full of food down here. Watching Austin Benson, our pole sitter, in 3rd position, pretty much occupied that spot from most of the race here, as he works his way around Robert DeRouge. Robert is in 21st position in that 22 machine. That's going to be one of the Ford GTs. And a big thank you to Niel's Timon, and we've been talking about some different logos and whatnot, but certainly appreciate the help there, Niels, and again apologize for what you might be seeing, but sometimes we take a little creative license to make sure that we highlight the logo on the air and get everybody to be able to take notice. So hence some of the changes that I make to the logos. And the 29 car...
We've just had a big mess at the hairpin. Looks like 3 cars involved. 29 is the first one we've seen involved. We've also seen Kenny Coughlin in the 24.
That's the prototypes here, guys.
Looks like Kenny Coughlin in the 24 rear-ended the 29 of Andreas Osthoff, who's in P4 overall.
Yeah, it looks like he got rear-ended, guys. I'm pulling it up on the picture in the e-play. It looks like he got rear-ended. I can't quite tell what car it was, but somebody just got a piece of him and spun him around.
Then we've collected lots of Bradlick in that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be Kenny Kuglin in a Ford GT here, John. That's the 24 car in 24th position, and just not quite sure what happened here, but he just pounds Andreas Osthoff here, and of course knocks him out of shape, and just narrowly misses William Yvart. There is an absolute Kodak moment right there, Cowboy, as as Andreas Olstoff comes around, spinning around backwards, just narrowly misses William Yvart in that GT car.
Yeah, the Andreas Olstoff car had braked a little bit early to give the car in front room, and it looks like we just sort of didn't anticipate that from the Ford GT.
Yeah, and again, you know, we've got actually two different cars here working this turn, and of course the prototype much faster through the turns with those, you know, lower aerodynamics. But we do have a battle up here in the front. Yeah, not quite the battle I was looking at here, but oh, we got another incident happening right here in front of the leader.
Car number 3 spin right in front of the leader.
And there's a gaggle of cars right up here in front with the leader. Of course, these are all cars that are lapped down here to Bjorn Spindell. I'm rolling it backwards here, and it looks like it's gonna be Steve Clays spins it around right in front of the leaders here, guys. And it looks...
And it's deceptively easy to do that, spin in front of the leader. You'd think you'd be your most careful in front of the leader, but you're really trying to get the push on so you don't hold them up. You don't want to impact the outcome of the race, and it's easy just to push a little bit too hard and spin the car.
You bet. And I'm still watching this again. It almost looks like I think Clays might have gotten clipped by Nick Versteege as he comes around. I'm trying to watch it again here, but it doesn't appear so.
That Clays car has damage from earlier incidents, so it can't be handling all that well.
Yeah, JD, it looks like he just got in the corner and he really got wiggly loose there. About lost in that last corner. Then he gets what I call the rumble strip, and that just offsets that car and puts him in the grass, and then he comes back up. Wow, the leader just narrowly missed that guy, just like you stated.
Confirmation then for the earlier hairpin into Kenny Coughlin. Sorry, Andreas, forgot you'd have to break early.
And I'll tell you, you know, these guys, we call it an e-ticket ride here on ETV, but, you know, from what I've seen here, Sean, tonight, you know, something a little bit different. Again, I mean, this is my first road race, and I'm having a blast up here. You know, the difference between the oval racing here and the road racing, I mean, you've got the walls around most of the track here, but the track is so narrow, but I haven't seen any real hard hits into the walls on either side of the track here. So got to give some kudos to the drivers down here. You know, very mindful of where they're at and what they need to do. Take evasive action, stay out of trouble, of course, minimize the damage. Unlike what you see out on an oval track, of course, you're talking speeds that are probably much greater, say at a place like Charlotte Motor Speedway, where, you know, you tangle with the outside wall. It's usually going to come at about 180 miles an hour. So, but I'll tell you, some of the guys that I've seen here getting into trouble, hanging onto their cars and doing a fine job, you know, minimizing the damage.
Yeah, certainly not the top speed that you have at, say, Charlotte, but they're still clearing 160 miles an hour at the end of Almond Straight. Yeah, we had a couple of heavy impacts early in the race, but it seems like once we've sort of thinned the field a bit, folks have minded their manners and gotten on with the race.
Rudd Bolt is up here, 18th position at 40 machine. He's going by the 17 or the 48 of Nick Versteege as he clears Versteege's GT. That's going to move Boulders up here now, doing battle with another GT. Of course, Corvette's just a little bit faster than the Ford GTs here. 24th position, Chris Zylstra in that 21 machine as Rudd Boulders is now up in front. But tell you what, guys, kind of a gaggle of cars back here in front of Nick Versteege. He's in 18th position, And he's got Stephen Clays, Zylstra, he's got Rudd Boulders up there in front as well. So kind of a gaggle of cars, what we call it here on ETV Live.
And he's got third place overall coming up to overlap as well. Yeah, quite the cluster indeed. Trying to see if we have any battles for position on the racetrack. I'm not finding any, sadly.
I'll tell you some pretty good racing here at...
Oh, but we do have the
go ahead.
88 of Matthew Venn into the wall at Sunset Bend in position 31. That's
And,
a strange
Matthew
place for the
Venn,
car to be stopped.
Yeah, he's well off the track here, and of course doing the right thing,
he had
waiting for
He
the
was-
traffic to clear.
He had help from Real Notermans in the 7 car, position 15. Just rear-ended. Venn was slower in the corner, and Notermans just had nowhere to go.
And judging by the back end of Matthew Venn's car here, guys, significant damage from a previous incident. So got to think that with the spoiler tore up as it is here, Sean, that Matthew Venn probably experiencing quite a bit of handling issues here.
Yeah, I think the pace of that car just caught Notermans out. Notermans expecting that car to be quite a bit quicker through Sunset. And unfortunately, just didn't know about or didn't account for the damage and just really had nowhere to go but through him.
And that's going to put Matthew Venn in the pits here with extensive damage to that number 88 machine as he gets his repairs. But an hour and about an hour and 24 minutes has elapsed here, so we're on the downhill side of things here at Sebring International Raceway. Why don't we go ahead and step away? We'll take another commercial break right here, right now. Still working off that buffet table back here behind us, thanks to Mama D. Sponsored by Digital Racing NL here at the Escors Le Mans Series at Sebring. So don't wander off, cowboy. We'll be right back.
Hard as you can go all the way to the wall, dig, back to speed. Tires look awesome too, bud, and there at the end you were mowing down those guys pretty quick.
Alright guys, bearing down on you 20, hard and fast.
You've been doing an awesome job. Get us one tonight.
These cars pulled up. Flag, green flag.
MTCO Communications, dude, I'll tell you what, the only place to get your gaming servers, no contract, month to month. Get gaming tonight with Battlefield 2. Hey, Call of Duty, do it with R-Factor, Arca Sim Racing, dude. I'll tell you what, $49 a month, no better deal anywhere. Remote access, virus filters, remote power cycle, no player limit, no bandwidth, dude. Dedicated servers, hey, do it tonight. Give them a call, 800-859-6826.
Welcome back to the 120 Minutes at Sebring, presented by digitalracing.nl. While we were away, we missed a slight contact for our GT2 leader, Nick Versteeg, in the hairpin. It looked like Steve Clays missed his break for the hairpin ever so slightly, ran off into the grass, and as he was rejoining, he tagged Nick Versteeg in the left rear. Nick clearly not happy with the driving from Steve, but it sounds like we don't have there's no significant damage to the car. And as we get into the last 37 minutes 45 seconds of this race, we should expect to see the last round of pit stops from all of our runners in the near future, certainly.
And Sean, back here, while you were watching that on lap 39 again, in 22nd position, Robert De Rouge goes into the turn and takes an e-ticket ride through the turn, spins it out, not quite doing a 360, but enough to put him out of shape here quite a bit. Has to back off the track, wait till traffic clears, and then get that Ford GT back up on the track. But doing a fine job hanging on to that machine, setting back here just a little bit.
Yeah, as we get out in the race, drivers are starting to get tired, and it seems like it might be starting to have an effect on some of these guys, unfortunately. You lose your focus just a little bit, and that little bit is all it takes to put the car off.
I think road racing requires a different level of concentration than any other kind of racing that I've been associated with. And I tell you, just watching these guys down here, it's always, oval racing, you're always told to think ahead because of the speeds that you race at. Of course, nothing indifferent than road racing here, but, thinking ahead because, something happens on one part of the track, and it's just a matter of seconds before you're on top of it. Of course, here in road racing, you've got the turns. I mean, those are, they come up frequently. You close the distance on them very quickly, so you got to be thinking way ahead of the game here in these cars here, in road racing. So I got to hand it to these guys, doing an outstanding job. And of course, being crumpled up in a somewhat uncomfortable cockpit. I know they've got these, several $100,000 seats in their vehicles, but still there's a comfort level that you got to deal with, Sean.
So we've had two incidents of note here. We had an off for our erstwhile GT2 leader, Nick Versteeg, severe enough to put him in the pit lane. That puts Cohen Gerards into the GT2 lead. Simultaneously, while we were sort of bemoaning the fact that there weren't any battles for position earlier in the race, there's certainly no one close. Well, now the GT1 lead has closed right back up. Anders Dahlin, position 9 overall, is just barely ahead of Edgell Sandfield, position 10 overall. And,
out of the corner of my eye, again, caught another one here. This is going to be position 21 guys in the 22 machine. Robert De Rouge having more problems here. Goes over the rumble strips, and again, I think it's a matter of getting throttle too soon into a sideways spin here. Same as last time, guys, here on lap 41. Just kicks it sideways, no harm, no foul. Gets back up on the track and gets it forward, but certainly losing quite a bit of time. This is the second incident just like that within a matter of laps. And I'm looking over here in the chat room, guys. Marco, he's been paying attention to what we were talking about here about concentration. Absolutely, you lose your flow and concentration here, when things happen out here on a track. And, like Robert De Rouge, he's got to get that concentration back, get that confidence back, and, hope for a good finish here as the time starts running out here at Sebring International Raceway. Back out here in front, Bjorn Spindell going past a couple of lap cars here. Of course, one of them belonging to Anders Dahl in 9th position. That's one of the Corvettes down here. Pretty smart-looking machine, that white Corvette. And then in behind him is going to be Egil Sandfield. He's going to be in 10th position in that number 86 Corvette. So Bjorn Spindell certainly has led all of the laps thus far, with the exception of the few that Austin Benson, our pole sitter, led. Austin Benson having his own problems here tonight, but still holding down a top 5 in that number 07 prototype machine up here. But he's 30 seconds off the leaders here, Sean. So Austin Benson, at this point, with the time left, doesn't look like there's going to be any hope for him to catch up to at least, say, Nick Bison, who's about 21 seconds in front.
Something we missed. We noted that the GT1 battle had gotten close, but we didn't quite get the right reason for it. Angel Sandfeld, who had lead for quite some time, had himself a fun little spin at the hairpin. That in turn allowed Anders Dahl to get through him, and now we have that close 1 second battle that we have now.
And looks like William Vart in the pits, guys, in a 77 machine. Vart in 29th position. Looked like an extended pit stop for him for some reason. As I check my pit board up here, but certainly 4 tires of fuel. Actually, no, timing was off. 18.2 seconds for William Vart. That's got to be one of them for 4 tires of fuel, but. And Sean, it looks like William Vart has pulled his car behind the wall. Let me get confirmation on that.
That wasn't expected. So right, that's our GT1 second place car into the pits and out of the pits. For his final scheduled stop, with the leader right in front of him, actually. So that's your first 2 in GT1, in and out of the pits. No change in order there. It looks like the time gap has maintained. So we'll have to keep our eye on this one. This should be a good race all the way to the end of the race.
Anders Dahl with a 21.5 second pit stop last time in, so good job down on pit road for sure. As he running in 9th position here at Sebring International Raceway, guys. I tell you, Anders Dahl looking pretty sharp here tonight for sure. We've got a question. Did Nick bail out at pit stops?
Nick Versteeg is on the track. So, must have been someone else. See if we can figure out who it was.
Yeah, it wasn't Nick Versteeg in the 48th and 21st position, guys. Now he's still on the track, so not quite sure what Jus Vander was talking about here. But if it's the Nick that you're referring to, Nick Versteeg, he is still on the track, 6 laps down here in 21st position.
Hey guys, it looks like Angel Sandfeld, he went off track just moments ago. Followed a couple Corvette guys, and it looks like he's just going to lose it.
And John going with him was going to be Rudd Boulders in that number 40 machine. And I think it might have been, I believe it was number 40 that started that whole mess. I'm going to roll it back here just a little bit more. It looks like a 40 runs off the rumble strips onto the dirt, Sean, and the 03, I think it's the 03 and the 86 machine come by him, try to get by him, but he comes back off the rumble strips up on the track. And of course, it looks like the 86 machine might have gotten pounded by the 84.
Yeah, the 84 Brune Hansen, nowhere to go on that. One of the things with multi-class racing, sadly, when you get incidents, especially corner exit like that, with quick evasion required, there's just too much speed difference to make it happen.
Yeah, you know, Sean, you and I were talking earlier before that we were discussing the horsepower. You know, horsepower versus weight ratio here. Prototypes, although 100 horsepower less than the Corvettes, you know, the Corvette's a much heavier car here at the Speedway here tonight. You know, of course, the prototypes all have the aerodynamic advantage with that low slung body style as well.
That's right. So it looks like that incident has robbed us of our race for the GT1 win then, and Stahl really just needs to keep it on the track at this point. We will have, well, maybe I shouldn't say still close or so soon. Looks like.
I'm hearing another Corvette off the track here again, guys. I'm looking for it, but Corvette seems to be having a little bit of trouble out here tonight. Let's take it to 7th position, guys, here. George Pilkington, he's got a wad of cars up in front. A few Corvettes, most of them are going to be the prototypes, as George Pilkington in 7th position works his way around lap traffic. But I don't see...
Fabian Dijon taking the escape road at the hairpin.
I've got Egil Sansfield in the pits, of course, not looking, this was not a planned pit stop for that 86 machine. Of course, this is coming after the damage, after that little mishap back here about a lap ago. So here on lap 47, the 86 of Egil Sansfield getting repairs in the pits. That's certainly going to set him back quite a distance here at Sebring here tonight. But about 38 seconds or so into his pit stop, as the pit crew works feverishly to get the nose of that car straightened back out again.
Something we're unfortunately getting used to saying. Steve Clay is in the fence, out of 20th position and just 10th in class. Looks like he just got the entry into sunset, just a slight, ever so slightly wrong, and that's all it takes. We are seeing drivers start to go off with more frequency than we did in the first hour. Maybe the concentration just fading just a little bit for some of our drivers, and battle damage as well starting to mount.
And John, something indicative of oval racing here. You know, the last 20 laps, you know, in oval racing are probably the where you see the most yellow flags occur as well. So maybe this is what we're seeing here. I mean, what goes through a driver's mind isn't going to be any different from an oval race to a road race in the final lap. So it's all position. It's all about who's going to get there first. It's all about taking that trophy home at the end. Yeah. So
we've got 25 minutes left in this race, and we do have our P2 overall, Nick Thyssen, into the pit lane. Bjorn Spindle, our overall leader, is on the pit lane as well for fuel and tires, presumably.
One and two, like Spindle and Thyssen in the pits here. Keep an eye on their pit stops up here, and we'll report the time as soon as they're done. But I tell you, Nick Thyssen and Bjorn Spindle, Thyssen was 7 seconds behind as Spindle gets the run off of pit road here. 16.5 second pit stop. Nick Thyssen's crew having difficulty with a tire change here. 20 seconds for Nick Thyssen. So it looks like Spindle is going to hold on to that lead, at least for the time being. Nick Thyssen was running about 7.2 seconds behind Bjorn, so we'll see if Nick can make that time up. Lost time, about 4 seconds on pit road there, Sean.
It looked like maybe Bjorn's team less fuel to put into the car, maybe.
Yeah, you guys talked about these guys having a little harder time in the latter parts of the race. I believe that's called fatigue. A lot of these guys, maybe they didn't lift their weights and eat their orange juice this morning.
I'll tell you what, you know, like I said, oval racing, road racing, to a race car driver, it makes no difference, Cowboy. But I'll tell you, Nick Thyssen running in second position back here, trying to close the distance on Bjorn Svendal, and going to check the lap times when they come back around. Or the distance when they come back around here, but let's take it back a couple of notches here. Let's go back to third position at 07 car. Austin Benson, you know, you got to give this guy a big hand here tonight. Austin hanging on the top 5 up here. He's considerably off the pace from the lead, almost a minute 19 seconds here. But Austin Benson starting on the pole here at Sebring, Sean. I tell you, doing a fantastic job staying up in the top 3.
So that gap is going to come down considerably. Austin Benson has already had his final pit stop, so I'd expect to see that come back down to about 40 or 50 seconds. So still off the pace, not the night he would have hoped for after starting on pole, but certainly salvageable, and a third place is certainly nothing to hang your head over. Third, we had the 58 of Mikhail Helen. Second in GT1, 10th overall into the pit lane and out again.
And David Trebe in the 38 machine on pit road, getting tires and fuel for the closing laps here at Sebring as well, guys.
To answer a question from the chat, yeah, it looks like Egil Sandfeld still on pit lane after the heavy contact exiting Le Mans. It looks like it was going to be a battle to the finish for first between Anders and Egil, but unfortunately that incident has robbed us of the battle.
And Sean, checking over here in the chat room, and Jorn Van Dun, you're absolutely correct. That is ETVJD and ETV Sean. Actually, that's Pivik. Are the people talking? Absolutely. That's I'm ATVJD, and of course Sean's sitting over here next to me up here in the booth. That's John back there behind us. He's pushing the buttons, working the cameras for you tonight on Road TV Live. That's a division of ETV Live, and I'll tell you what, the online Autosports Entertainment Network here, bringing you some live action from Sebring International Raceway.
Just to address a couple more questions. Yes, it is the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps is the next race on the calendar, Edwin. And Niel Steeman, I anticipate we'll both be back in the booth along with Sean Peachin, who has unfortunately had commitments at Indianapolis Motor Speedway today.
And guys, what I heard, I better do a computer upgrade before Spa, because I read on the forums all the time how nasty graphically Spa is, so we're going to have to do a little testing there.
Looks like Spa will be on June the 3rd, so that's just a couple weeks away.
Well, I better get the way. Honey, we need to save a little money. I need another video card.
Oh my God. Hang on to your seats, Cowboy, but I'll tell you what, there is a ton of racing coming your way, and you haven't checked it out yet. You want to get over to etv-eplay.net. Take a look at the schedule over there, Cowboy. A lot of racing coming your way. Like Sean just mentioned, we'll be at Spa here on June 3rd, again here doing some more road racing. But tonight, we're not done yet, Cowboy. Hot Rod Racing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we're going to be at Charlotte tonight, John. And with Ron Day, I'll be in the house, a bunch of us hanging out here at ETV Live. So another one coming your way. I believe that's going to be about 8 o'clock tonight here on ETV Live. That'll be on Channel 1 on the oval racing side of the house here tonight. But and then, of course, on Monday night, tomorrow night, back in the saddle again with some more oval track racing with the All-Star race from Race Sim Nation. That's the ARCA League that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years. Some good racing coming your way, but I tell you, the schedule is heavy, so check it out, etv-eplay.net.
Yes, we're watching the leader here, JD. I might have to go take a nap after this one's over so I can get ready for the second part of our doubleheader today. But we've seen some great racing here. Just had a blast with this road gig here. ETV plans on getting really deep into the road racing. This is kind of our beta broadcast here, and I think we've done a pretty decent job, guys.
So we've had a battle sort of sneak up on us. 4th and 5th in the prototypes, Andrews Osthoff and Dmitry Sivkov, just 4 seconds apart on the track. So we'll see if that's going to trend towards a battle on the track, or if Andrews will pull ever so slightly away.
And Anders Dahl, I believe he's the. Now this has got to be. I'm assuming this is GT1. Is that correct? Anders Dahl. He's in the Corvette down here. Fantastic looking machine. But he's the first machine here, 9th position overall. But I believe he's the first of the. I believe that's the GT1, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Anders Dahl really with a comfortable lead now. We thought we might have a battle still between he and Mikhail Helen, but it looks like maybe Anders had pitted and Mikhail had not. The very similar style at this stage of the game.
And again, we want to thank digitalracing.nl for sponsoring the race here tonight. The ELMS, actually it's called the Escors Le Mans Series here. It's a 4-race series, I believe, multi-class competition here. Next race coming up on June 3rd. It'll be at Spa-Francorchamps, I believe they call it. But another big thank you to Derek Spears Designs, high-performance virtual racing parts. And, of course, a big thanks to Sean Pivick for joining us up here in the booth. And I want to give a shout-out to Jim, the Coyote Willis, doing some sound engineer for us. And I'll tell you what, Jim, back in the saddle again after a couple-year hiatus. You know, here's the deal, Cowboy. We were up in the booth one night. We sent Jim down to the local grocery store for a 6-pack of Coke and a box of donuts. He just came back. That was 2 years.
I don't think it was quite that long, but I know it was a good 8 months ago, JD. Must be one heck of a good set of Cuban cigars.
It was 7 months, JD, 7.
7 months, all right. Jim Willis back in the saddle again. Good to have him along.
Sounds like we've had an engine detonation from Matthew Ben, 31st place overall in the 88 car. Unfortunately, he's been involved in a couple incidents early in the race, and he just looked around. Looks like that's finally come to an end.
I'm trying to look back there and see if I can't pick up. Looks like it's going to be about lap 44, about 31st position back here. Yeah, you know, we talked about him earlier, Sean, involved in several incidents. Heavy damage to that Ford GT, especially on the back end. Back there, but you know, putting that machine through its paces and just couldn't go no more as he blows the engine. And luckily, he's able to get it off the track, you know, to avoid a confrontation with oncoming vehicles. I'm still looking over here in the chat room, guys. I tell you, these guys, man, they're getting on my case, man. Now, I have no clue what Spa-Francorchamps is, you know, but I am willing to learn, and I'm hoping that you guys are going to teach me. That's coming from Jamin Ho. I don't know who Jamin Ho is. Jarman Ho?
I'm glad I live next door to you, and I know these guys over there, JD, and they got good hitmen. Well, you might not be around for the next broadcast.
That might be a good thing. But I tell you, you know, Go ahead, Sean.
So at the front of the field, it looks like Bjorn Spindle pretty happy to keep the gap at about 9 to 10 seconds to second place. Second place, Nick Thyssen.
Yeah, you know, we were watching Nick Thyssen's pit stop back there, hoping that he was going to be able to close the distance. But if you remember, Sean, Bjorn Spindle had a 16.5 second pit stop. At that time, Nick was running about almost 7.5 seconds behind. Nick's 20-second pit stop probably was responsible for that added 2-second deficit.
Yeah, he's lost a little bit there, but it doesn't look like he's got enough to draw the gap back up. So, first overall we have Bjorn Spindle, in the 89 HPD ARX-01C. Second overall and second in class, Nick Thyssen in the 91 prototype. Third overall, Austin Benson in the 07. Leading GT1 in the Chevrolet Corvette C6R is Anders Dahl with a comfort lead over the 41 of Niel Hekkens, second in GT1. Dean Allen third, an additional chunk of time behind. In GT2, Coleman Gerhardt really inherited the lead from Nick Versteeg after he had a unfortunate incident with the Corvette of Steve Clay's. Robert Lowry now second in GT2 from the third place car of Nick Versteeg.
All right, the top three in each one of the classes as time is starting to run out here, guys. Roughly 6 minutes or so left here. 58 laps recorded so far here at, tell you what, why don't we go ahead and step away. We'll take what might be our final break of the night here. You're watching live, ETV Live, Road TV Live here at Sebring with the Escors Le Mans Series. So don't wander off. We'll be right back.
Hey dude, are you ready to rock and roll? If that's cool, then you need to do it over at HD Radio Network. HD Radio Network, 4 stations broadcasting 24/7 with everything from metal favorites to the 80s classic rock like legendary Leonard Skinner, Electric Light Orchestra, Foreigner, and bone-rattling, skull-crushing rock and roll on hard driving radio. And partnered with Nuff World Simulation Gaming, check out the HD Radio Network's Nuff Radio with Bear Factory, Stone Temple Pilots, Def Leppard, and a whole lot more. HDRadionetwork.com. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude.
MTCO Communications, dude. I'll tell you what, the only place to get your gaming servers, no contract, month to month. Get gaming tonight with Battlefield 2. Hey, Call of Duty. Do it with R-Factor. Arca Sim Racing, dude. I'll tell you what, $49 a month, no better deal anywhere. Remote access, virus filters, remote power cycle, no player limit, no bandwidth, dude. Dedicated servers. Hey, do it tonight. Give them a call, 800-859-6826.
And welcome back to the final 8 minutes and 53 seconds of the 120 minutes of Sebring presented by DigitalRacing.nl. That battle we promised between 4th place overall Andreas Osthoff and 5th place overall Dmitry Sivkov Well, that's just shaped up nicely. We just gave 3 seconds the previous lap, and they're nose to tail on the track now. Of course, as I say, nose to tail, we get that battle split up just a little bit by traffic. But we look for this one to be good right down to the end of the race.
And that looks like pretty much, going around here, it's pretty much the only battle going on. But Osthoff faced with a couple of Corvettes up here, actually a Corvette and a Ford GT. So as they do battle with each other, Osthoff waiting for all that to happen so he can make his way around the both of them. But I'll tell you what, Osthoff doing a fine job of maneuvering through the turns here, going to get the position on the GT, and he's got Dmitry Sivkov. Oh, sorry about that. I had the wrong. Looking at the wrong monitor, guys.
That's a Corvette and a prototype that just gone off in front of our battle. The 84 of Lasse Brun Hansen and the 00 of Marcel Bozeman. I don't know about you, JD, but I got my start in motorsports watching NASCAR and branched out to road racing. Anytime I see the 00 car, I go instantly back to the Aquafresh car of Buckshot Jones.
Buckshot Jones. There you go. Now you're going back quite a ways there. I'll tell you, this isn't ESPN nor is it TNT, but I'll tell you what, we do have a lot of fun here on ETV Live, and this is Road TV Live, a division of ETV Live. We've also got Dirt TV Live, and I've already done a couple of broadcasts. And if you haven't seen one of the sprint car races from Simpro Racing, USAC, I'll tell you what, you're missing quite a bit. A lot of fun, and just a blast to watch. So check the schedule at etv-eplay.net. We got some dirt racing coming your way. The Dream happening on the 31st of May here, just in a couple of weeks. That's being sponsored by a Dirt Late Model Sim, and you catch it live here on ETV Live. I think it's about 8 o'clock, 8:30 on the 30th and 31st, some dirt track racing. But we cover it all here for sure. Go ahead.
So we did have a slow lap from Nick Dyson about 2 laps ago. No dramas that we could see, just stuck behind a couple of slower cars overtaking each other and had to really lift off to give them room.
Yeah, Sean, I was pulling that back too, and it just looked like he just got caught for about a half a lap, quarter of a lap there, because a little bit of slower traffic, and it just shows you how much getting slowed up just a little bit, how deeply it costs you here in the closing laps.
Yeah, that'll happen in multi-class racing. That's one of the skills that sets apart from guys that race in single classes, is really moving through the traffic safely, but at the same time very rapidly indeed. And
noticing some of the comments over in the chat room, Bjorn Spindell going very fast. You bet, last time around 148.492 to Nick Thyssen 148.303, however. So Nick Thyssen actually putting down a little bit faster lap, but no help. 15 seconds off the pace. Got to think it was a 4-second deficit in the pit stop, plus fighting lap traffic, just setting him back here quite a ways. But still a top 5 run here at Sebring, along with Austin Benson. Austin Benson now 53 seconds behind the leader, still in the top 5 here with Andreas Osterhoff and Dmitry Sivkov in the prototype. Anders Dahl, Niel Hekkens, Helen and Allen, your top 4 with Mortensen, 5 drivers for the GT1, the Corvette class here, as well, having a good night.
We had a new fast lap for Prototype 2 2 laps ago to Bjorn Spindel with clean lap at 46.74, which is something on the order of a second and a half faster than these guys are circulating in traffic. But we are inside of 4 minutes to go here, so we should have our positions fairly well sorted for the finish.
Able to complete up till now 58 laps here at Sebring, and Of course, the race being sponsored by digitalracing.nl. Get over there and take a look around. Was able to do that with Google Chrome. They actually have a little translator deal up there if you don't speak Dutch. But a pretty interesting website over there. Spent considerable time over there. A lot of leagues and several different venues come together. A sim racing community over there. But big thanks to digitalracing.nl, along with Derek Spears Designs, high performance virtual racing parts. And of course, a big thank you, Sean, goes to Niel Hekkens for organizing the Escors Le Mans series here, and of course broadcasting live on Road TV Live.
Absolutely. We spoke a moment ago about getting through traffic being one of the key skills in mixed class racing. Unfortunately for Dmitry Zivkov, our fifth place runner, he was disadvantaged that lap compared to Andreas Osthoff. So that gap is now up to 2 seconds. Andreas looks like he might be pulling away for the 4th position overall.
And just a matter of seconds now before the time clock comes to a halt. 63 laps for some in the books here at Sebring, guys. So as this race starts to close out, Bjorn Spindell, the overall leader here tonight, has led just about all of the lap, with the exception of the few that were led by Austin Benson, your pole sitter tonight in the Honda prototype.
Yeah, this is once Hindle got out in front through traffic. This has really been a clinic put on how to drive quickly in a prototype and how to drive quickly through traffic. The outcome of this has really been in doubt. Oh, Andreas Osthoff is front end. That's a big moment for who P4. Andreas Osthoff missed his braking zone at turn 2 and just went straight off the track. That'll promote Dmitry Zivkov into P4 overall.
It appears he's lost his headlights too.
Well, the headlights aren't mounted on the nose, so when you lose one, you lose your ability to see. And now the question is, will Andreas attempt to complete the race sans headlights and sans nose, or will he make the call the pit lane to get a new nose?
I'm pulling this up now, guys, and he did take a pretty devastating lick here. I got it on the exclusive ETV picture-in-picture here, so we don't lose the... It looks like might be some dirt from another car here, and I don't know if that might have blinded him a little bit. It just blew his concentration, guys, and he just plows it into the tires, guys. Wow, that's devastating here in the end of the race here.
So heartbreak then for the 9 of Andreas Osthoff. P4 so close to being his, but looks like that car is still circulating, missing, and he may be in danger of losing place yet.
Yeah, he's having a hard time watching Andreas Osthoff maneuver through. Of course, now coming down the front stretch here, we're pretty well lit, but having difficulty in the turns, but can't see the turn-in zone here as he fights the track here with no headlights. Of course, get past the front stretch here, Sean, and it's going to get dark. You know, thankfully he's got one car out there in front of him. That's going to be Dean Allen in a Corvette, kind of lighting the way for him.
So that's time. 2 hours has elapsed. Bjorn Spindell, our overall leader, is on it, just coming through Cunningham Corner, turn 10. So I think the biggest question we have at this point is, will Derek Schmidt be able to catch and pass Andreas Osthoff? Andreas is significantly down the road from Derek, but without that front downforce and driving virtually blind, that's going to be a tall task to get back around.
You bet. As time runs out here at Sebring International Raceway, guys, I tell you what a night.
Jaren Van Donn correctly pointing out that ALMS and the real Le Mans Series rules mandate 2 headlights on at all times.
as we watch Derek Schmidt running in 6th position, trying to close the distance here. Don't know whether he'll have time to make it.
So that's the race then. Spindle, your winner from Nick Theisen. Well driven for Bjorn Spindle and Nick Theisen both. Andreas Osthoff on the Ullman straight into Sunset. Derek Schmidt, a valiant effort to try to rest P5, but just won't have enough time. In GT1, Anders Dahl just about to come through start-finish to take the win in the Corvette C6R.
And it looks like Niel Hekkens going to get a solid 2nd place finish in the GT1 class.
And Cohen Garrett's really in his own zip code for position 1 in the GT2 class.
As like Robert Lowry pulls his car over here at the end. So I'll tell you what a night here at Sebring International Raceway, guys. One of the oldest road races. In fact, I think it may be the oldest road racing track here in North America, once belonging to the United States Army Air Force, and of course longtime school, 1941 to 46, where pilots used to learn how to fly the B-17 Flying Fortress way back when. But what a night here at Sebring. Fantastic racing, 3-class, multi-class race with the Honda prototypes. Sean and Bjorn Spindell certainly going home with the big trophy tonight. Class of the field here for sure. Of course, special recognition to Anders Dahl. He's also the class winner in the GT1 series, and then Cohen Garrett's as well in the GT2 class. So hats off to these guys for a outstanding performance. 120 minutes of Sebring, sponsored by digitalracing.nl. And we're going to go ahead and step away and take a commercial break here as we get prepared for the post-race show here. And hopefully we're going to be able to bring you the winners in all 3 classes. So sit tight, don't wander off. We'll be right back here at Sebring International Raceway.
Hard as you can go all the way to the wall, dig, back to speed. Tires looked awesome too, bud, and there at the end you were mowing down those guys pretty quick.
Guys bearing down on your 20, hard and fast. You've been doing an awesome job to get us one tonight. Hey, car's pulled up. Flag, green flag.
User was moved to your channel. User joined your channel.
And
welcome to
back
the ETV
to,
Live
go ahead.
post-race show from Sebring International Raceway. We're here with our class winners, Bjorn Spindle, Anders Dahl, and Cohen Gerards. Bjorn, after you took the lead, it really was a clinic from you today. Any dramas at all whatsoever with the car?
No, the only really interesting thing was the slower drivers in the slower cars. They made my life quite interesting, I think.
So the driving standards maybe not quite where you would have wanted them to be then, or just the inherent dangers in multi-class racing?
Well, I think it's quite fun to have all kinds of drivers. It makes the race very fun.
Very good then. Any sponsors you need to thank, or any last thoughts?
Oh, no, thank you.
Congratulations on your P1 win in the inaugural race of the Escors Le Mans Series.
Thanks.
Anders Dahl, our winner in the Corvette C6R and GT1. Anders, you had a fantastic dice with Egil Sandfield for most of that race.
Yeah, we were on TeamSpeak together, and it was very fun to drive real close. Unfortunately, he got hit by a faster car, and that kind of took the excitement out of it. But it was real fun.
You had the pace in qualifying as well, 0.6 of a second on the field. Were you surprised that it was as close as it was until Emil had his dramas?
Not really. I saw from the practice results that me and Egil Sandfield was probably the fastest, and then I think he took it a bit more slowly than I did in the qualifier, and that's why I took it on the pole.
Anyone you need to thank? Any last thoughts? How was the traffic?
It was okay traffic, I think. And I will thank iRacing Denmark, which is the team we are running for. And of course, thanks to Niel Hekkens.
Congratulations on your win in the inaugural race for the Escors Le Mans Series.
Thank you.
Cohen Gerards, our winner in GT2 in the Ford GT. Cohen, it wasn't looking like you raced for most of it, but you kept the car clean and came through at the end.
Yeah, I did. It's just having a little problem in the beginning at the start. I dropped a few places because they didn't leave a gap. So I lost a little bit of time fighting my way through past Stefan Koppens and for until second place. I was a bit surprised afterwards that I heard something, Nick was saying something I didn't quite understand him, so I was quite surprised seeing myself at the front of the pack.
Yeah, 2-hour race, not necessarily the fastest, although you were certainly quick enough, but keeping the car clean, the most important thing.
Yeah, at the end, I knew that Nick had a problem. He went into the pits pretty early. When I left the pits, I knew I had quite a lead on him, and if I just kept it clean, and I would be okay for the rest of the race. It's not that exciting for me as well, but I won the game for me. So
very well done. GT2 perhaps has the tallest task in the field in multi-class racing, with 2 classes of cars coming through to overtake you. How were the driving standards from your point of view in this race?
It was quite exciting. I made a few mistakes myself as well, because you see smoke coming up somewhere, you have a yellow flag, and then suddenly you have, I think it was even Bjorn Spindle who just passing me at the same point, just completely surprised me. It was quite interesting. There were some drivers that also just threw their LMPs to the inside, but it wasn't really a problem actually. So it was just you have to be really careful in the GT2 because you're constantly being passed.
It sounds like everybody minded their P's and Q's then. We also have the results for the Kleenex challenge for each class. The Kleenex again is for the lowest number of incidents in the race. Bjorn Spindle, congratulations. You also had the lowest incidents as well as the fastest race in prototypes.
Well, that's surprising. Thanks.
Anders Dahl, we're seeing a pattern here. The winner of the class, also the cleanest driver in the field.
Yeah, I had some incidents, so actually a bit surprised.
And sorry, Cohen, you weren't the cleanest. Nick Versteeg was the cleanest, the Ford GTs. Still,
yeah,
you were just one behind with 2 incidents. So
yeah, it was going along the way quite well for me, and I know Nick is a pretty clean driver, so it would be pretty hard to beat him on that one.
Very clean race overall. The first 15 minutes, a bit exciting, and it seemed like in about 30 minutes to go, things got exciting again. But overall, very clean race for all of our drivers. And congratulations, Bjorn Spindel, Anders Dahl, and Koen Gerards on your win in the first race of the Escors Le Mans Series.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Fantastic night here at Sebring International Raceway, and I'll tell you what, my first road race here tonight. Final thought, Sean. You know, let's go back to Austin Benson, qualified on the pole here tonight, but you know, quickly got into trouble and managed to go back, finishing about 17 seconds off, or actually 55 seconds off the lead up here. But Austin Benson, I tell you, proving to be an outstanding driver, finishing up in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like he had the pace early on. It's hard to say what kind of dramas he might have been carrying in that car. It certainly looked like not all was right for the entirety of the race. I'm sure he'll be excited to get to Spa-Francorchamps and really get after the lead to see if he can't pull a win out of the bag.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. And tell you can join Sean Pivick and Sean Petchen in the booth on June 3rd from Spa-Francorchamps. Looking forward to that one. And I understand that's going to be a daytime race, so different track, different time. So really looking forward to that race. Now, again, etv-eplay.net, awfully proud to be involved with Niel Hekkens and the Escors Le Mans Series. Big thank you to Niel for organizing the events here. And, of course, big thank you to Digital Racing NL, Derek Spirit Designs, high-performance virtual racing parts. And again, I want to give some more props to Niel's, and I can't remember his last name over here. He's been in the chat room, been talking to him all night, but Niel's Timon with digitalracing.nl. And if you haven't taken a look, go over there and take a look. You know, use Google Chrome if you don't understand Dutch. Played it, and pretty outstanding looking website or racing community with a lot of different venues. But again, from ETV Live, this has been a production of Road TV Live with John Westlake pushing the buttons on the camera for tonight. Of course, sitting next to me tonight, big thank you to Sean Piven for calling the action. This is the Cowboy, J.D. Webb. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here, getting ready for another race here tonight at about 8:30 p.m. on ETV Live. So from Sebring International Raceway, we'll see you all next time.
We're clear.
Oh, man. Good job, guys.
Disconnected.
Oh,